students. Today we are going to start about the topic that we are continuing from the last class about your financial system. As you know that financial system is very crucial for the development of a country. Financial system of a country actually accelerates the pace of development. Without financial system, a country cannot develop actually. So in the last class we have studied about what is financial system. In the last class we have studied about the objectives of financial system. In the last class we have studied about the functions of financial system. In this class we are going to discuss about the components of financial system. I will write down, let me write down that. This class we are going to discuss about the components of financial system. Components of financial system, it will be an interesting one. It will be a very useful topic for all of you. Components of financial system, we can classify our discussion under 3 heads, and that they are components of financial system can be analyzed by financial markets. Then we can say financial instruments, and number 3 your financial intermediaries. Right? You understood? We can analyze, we can discuss the components of Indian financial system under 3 heads. One will be your financial market, one will be your financial instruments, and one will be your financial intermediaries. So we can broadly classify the discussion of financial system under 3 heads. Number 1 will be your financial market, number 2 will be your financial instrument, number 3 will be your financial intermediaries. In this class, in today's class, we will discuss about the financial market. So let us discuss about that financial markets. Simply we can say, what do you mean by financial market? A financial market is a market where financial transactions are carried out throughout the year. Understood? Financial market is a market where financial transactions are being carried out throughout the year. It may be short term, it may be long term. So based on the time period, we can classify financial market under 2 heads. Financial market can be divided under 2 heads. One will be your money market, and your next one will be your capital market. So you understood? We are just slowly moving our discussion. Financial market can be broadly classified under 2 heads. One will be your money market, and number 2 will be your capital market. Very interesting point for you to understand that we can classify the financial market under 2 heads. One will be your money market, one will be your capital market. I am just repeating once again. The components of financial system can be studied under 3 heads. One will be your financial market, second point will be your financial instrument, third point will be your financial intermediaries, and so far as financial market is concerned, it can be classified under 2 heads. One will be your money market, one will be your capital market. So let me tell you about that what is your money market, what is the capital market. How can we distinguish? How can we make a difference between money market and capital market? Money market is a market where the short-term financial transactions are being carried out. We can have a clear-cut distinction between money market and capital market in the sense money market is a market where we will carry out the short-term monetary assets, short-term financial transaction. Capital market is a market that is meant for long-term financial transactions. So now I clearly make a distinction between your money market and capital market. We will discuss the capital market in the second part, and for the timing we will discuss about money market. We can clearly distinguish between money market and capital market in the ground that money market is a market where we can carry out short-term financial transaction, and capital market is a market where we will carry out the long-term financial transaction. So let us talk about the money market. First of all, we will discuss about the money market, then we will proceed to discuss about the capital market. As I told you, money market is a market that deals about short-term financial transactions. Let us move to discuss about the money market. I told you the exact definition for money market, and now we will discuss about the components of money market. Components of money market. Understood? See the moment of our discussion. First, we started our discussion from components of financial system. Under components of financial system, we classified under 3 heads. One will be your financial market, one will be your financial instruments, one will be your financial intermediaries. Understood? And the financial markets can be classified under 2 heads. One will be your money market, one will be your capital market. In money market, we are dealing with short-term financial transaction. In capital market, we are dealing with short-term long-term financial transaction. Again, we can study the money market under the components of money market, and the components of money market is classified. The components of money market is classified under 2 heads, and they are actually money market institutions and money market instruments. So, I think it will be better if we discuss that. We will analyze the components of money market now under 2 heads. One will be your money market institutions and one will be your money market instruments. Let me write about all the things actually. So we are discussing about money market, components of money market. If we analyze about components of money market, then it comes under 2 heads. Financial institutions and financial instruments. Clear? So now we will focus our discussion on the components of money market. We can discuss, we can analyze. There is a question for you. I briefly explain what is money market. Briefly explain the components of money market, then you will write what is money market. I told you now, money market is a market where you will carry out the short-term financial transactions. Capital market is a market where you will carry out the long-term financial transactions. So, in money market, we have studied about the components of money market. Now, the discussion can be carried out by the financial, we can divide the components of money market under 2 heads. One will be your financial institutions, and second point will be your financial instruments. Financial institutions and financial instrument. So basically we will study the components of money market under 2 heads. One will be your financial institutions and one will be your financial instrument. Let us talk about the institutions. Let us talk about the organizations. Let us talk about the organizations that deals with money market. You understood? When you study about the components of money market, especially financial institutions, it will tell you the organizations, the financial organizations, the financial institutions that purely deals with the money market system. So if you talk about the financial institutions, we can classify the financial institutions under 2 heads actually. If you classify the financial institutions, it will come under 2 heads. One will be your organized sector and one will be your unorganized sector. Understood? So now we are just discussing about the financial institutions, and we can carry out the discussion of financial institutions under 2 heads. One will be your organized sector, one will be your unorganized sector. See, just we are slowly moving to discuss about the financial institutions. One will be your organized sector and the other will be your unorganized sector. Be practical. What is organized sector? First of all, let me tell you that what is organized sector. Organized sector is that sector where the financial activities are systematically monitored, controlled, checked by the Supreme Monetary Authority. You understood? Organized sector is that sector where all type of financial, all type of monetary activities, transactions are being carried out by the, are being checked, supervised and monitored by the Supreme Financial Authority. So you want to say that, we can say that, who is the Supreme Financial Authority in a country? Your central bank. You understand? In each and every country, the Supreme Financial Authority lies in one hand and that one is your central bank. In India, the central bank is named as Reserve Bank of India. So we can say in India, organized sector is that sector whose activities are systematically, whose activities are periodically monitored, checked, controlled by RBI. So those institutions, those organizations who are coming under the control of RBI, we can say they are called as organized sector of money market. You understood? The institutions, the organizations whose activities are under the strict control, strict guidance of Reserve Bank of India, that will be called as organized sector. And the activities whose, and the organizations, the institutions whose activities are not coming under the direct control of RBI, they are called as unorganized sector. So the basic distinction between organized sector and unorganized sector lies in the control of RBI. The organizations, the institutions who are being controlled, who are being periodically monitored, who are being supervised by RBI and who are bound to obey the guidelines of the RBI, they are called as the organized sector. They have an obligation toward RBI. You should understand, organized sectors should have an obligation towards RBI. But if you talk about the other thing, unorganized sector, it is the sector who doesn't have an obligation toward RBI and their activities are not being controlled, not being monitored by RBI directly. I hope you understood the point, the distinction between organized sector and unorganized sector. You understood? Organized sector is that sector where the organizations, the institutions are being directly controlled, monitored by central bank of the country. If you talk about India, then central bank, who is the central bank? It is your RBI. So the RBI monitors the organizations, that is called your organized sector. And the institutions who are not being monitored by RBI, they are called as unorganized sector. If you talk about all the things, there are many things that you can analyze about the distinction between organized and unorganized. In organized sector, there is a specific interest rate. The interest rate will remain purely constant, will remain fixed, purely fixed. But here, if you talk about unorganized sector, the interest rate charged by the people, by the organization is very high, and it will kind of fluctuate. It will change from person to person. It will change from institution to institution. There are many points to justify the distinction between organized sector and unorganized sector. But the basic point of distinction between organized sector and unorganized sector lies in the factor that the activities of organized sectors are directly controlled by central bank, that is RBI, but the activities of unorganized sectors are not being controlled by the RBI. This is the point of decision. Now, if you talk about organized sector, again a classification comes here. We have got many classifications, don't worry for that. If you talk about organized sector, a classification again comes that first point, the first point to be under organized sector will be your RBI. RBI is the main point, RBI is the central point, RBI is the key point of organized sector. It is the Supreme Monetary Authority. RBI is the Supreme Monetary Financial Authority of the country or of India. So when you talk about organized sector, RBI comes first. When you talk about the organized sector, then RBI comes as the first. RBI is the first institutions that comes under the organized sector. It is the central, it is the apex, it is the top most monetary authority of the country, and it plays a vital role. Remember one thing, RBI checks every activities, RBI checks the activities of all banks. That is why RBI will come at the top level of the organized sector. You understood that in India a central bank is known as RBI. RBI regulates all types of monetary activities actually, apart from your issue of currency notes and coins actually. So RBI will come at the top of the organized sector. Second point, commercial banks. There is an interesting point of distinction between RBI and commercial bank. Remember one thing. There is an interesting point of distinction between your RBI and commercial bank. In each and every country, there will be a single central bank, or there is a single central bank. But in each and every country, there will be more than one commercial banks. The purpose of RBI is different. The purpose of commercial bank is different. The purpose of RBI is to maintain price stability with economic growth. But the purpose of commercial bank is to get profit motive. So commercial banks are the institutions who are always daily looking for profit motive. They don't have the target to establish, they don't have the target to achieve price stability with economic growth. Understood? So commercial banks will come under the second category. Commercial banks will come under the second point of discussion under organized sector. Commercial banks can be again divided into public sector commercial banks and private sector commercial banks. Commercial banks, as the name tells itself, commercial banks are the banks which are commercial in nature. Commercial banks are the banks which have a profit motive in nature. Commercial banks are further classified under two heads. One will be your public sector commercial bank, and second point will be your private sector commercial bank. You understood? Commercial banks are classified under two heads. One will be your public sector commercial bank, and one will be your private sector commercial bank. If you tell me, if you ask me about the name of commercial banks, if you ask me about the name of commercial banks, I will tell you that under public sector commercial banks, we will take State Bank of India, we can talk about Indian Overseas Bank, we can talk about Andhra Bank, we can talk about Syndicate Bank, we have talked about Vijaya Bank, we will talk about Dana Bank, we will talk about Corporation Bank. So the controls, the banks whose activities are being controlled by the government, that will come under commercial banks. We can say that these are the banks, public sector commercial banks are the banks which are being nationalized and which are being Government of India undertaking actually. They are the undertakings by the Government of India. That is one is your public sector commercial banks. Let me write that. Commercial banks are divided into two parts. One will be your public sector commercial banks and one will be your private sector commercial bank. Understood? Private sector commercial banks are the banks whose establishment are being carried out by the private individuals, by private organizations, by the private companies. This is the point of distinction between public sector or private sector. But the aim is different. The aim is same. The purpose is same. Private sector commercial bank have a profit motive objective, and public sector commercial bank also have a profit motive objective. But the distinction lies is that public sector commercial banks are being nationalized and they are being the Government of India undertakings. But private sector commercial banks are being owned and the operations are being carried out by the private individuals or private management or the private companies like that. If you talk about private sector commercial banks, then we will talk about various names like your HDFC Bank is there, like your ICICI Bank is there, Axis Bank is there, then you talk about your Karur Vysya Bank is there, then your ING Vysya Bank is there, then you have Katak Mahindra Bank is there. They are the banks which will come under private sector commercial bank. So for a while we can also take a classification about your private sector commercial bank under domestic and international. We can also classify private sector commercial banks under two heads. One will be your domestic, one will be your international. Take for example, Kotak Mahindra Bank you talk about, ING Vysya Bank, they are operating inside India, that is why they are called as your domestic private sector banks. We have a foreign private bank, we have an international private sector bank like your City Bank of India, City Bank of America, then your Standard Chartered Bank from England, then your Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation, HSBC. So they are the private sector international banks. I hope you get the concept very clear. Commercial banks are being classified under two heads, one will be public sector and private sector. I told you. Private sector commercial bank are again classified under domestic and international actually. And so they constitute a main part of organized sector. They constitute a main part of organized sector. They are the main part of organized sector. They play a dominant role in supplying short-term financial requirements of the people. They deal with the short-term financial requirements of the people. That is why commercial banks comes as a main part of the organized sector. So we have discussed about your RBI and we have discussed about your commercial banks. Now we will discuss about the third point, that is your cooperative banks. Understood. Nowadays actually on behalf of the Government of India, some other banks are there, we can say that is your cooperative bank. Cooperative banks, that is the name indicates, cooperative banks are being structured. Cooperative banks are being classified under 3 heads. One will be your state cooperative banks. State cooperative banks are being playing. State cooperative banks are functioning at the state level. And again is there is your local cooperative bank. Local cooperative banks are playing functioning at local level, rural level, and there is a central cooperative bank. They are functioning at district level. Let me tell you that. Let me repeat that. Cooperative banks are playing an important role in Indian financial system. Cooperative banks are classified under 3 heads. One will be your state cooperative bank. State cooperative banks are functioning at state level. Then in the next cadre, there will be your central cooperative bank. Central cooperative banks are functioning at district level. And in the bottom structure, there will be your local cooperative bank. They cater to the need, they help the need of the rural and urban local bodies. That is your local cooperative banks. So next to commercial banks, cooperative banks will also are playing an important role of the Indian financial system. So all the activities of the RBI, commercial bank, cooperative banks, all the activities, all the functions, all the day-to-day operations are being a part of organized sector. You understood? Please understand. Organized sector, I told you, it comprises 3 points. One will be your RBI, one will be your commercial banks, one will be your cooperative bank, and all the 3 instruments, all the 3 organizations, they will come under the purview or jurisdiction of organized sector. Are you clear? So this is the point of discussion. Now we have discussed. Then we will go to unorganized sector. Let me tell you that. Just now before 10 minutes I told you, unorganized sector is that sector whose activities are not being controlled by RBI. Organized sector is that sector whose activities are being controlled by RBI, but unorganized sector is that sector whose activities are not the direct control of RBI. Understood? So when you talk about unorganized sector, let me tell you that under unorganized sector, we can talk about indigenous banks, we can talk about village money lenders. We have seen that in the traditional times, we have seen in the old days, village money lenders are playing an important role in the financial system of the country. Still now they are continuing as a part of the financial system. Before independence, after independence, we have seen that village money lenders are playing an important role in the financial system of the country. Now, more or less, still we are depending on the village money lenders. They are charging a huge rate of interest rate that is very exploitative in nature. Still, they are playing an important role in the Indian financial system. We cannot neglect, we cannot deny the role of money lenders in the unorganized sector. We have seen, we have noted, we have classified the money lenders under unorganized sector because their activities are not under the control of the RBI. So, if you talk about unorganized sector, let me write you that, it will come your money lenders. Then we will talk about indigenous banks. Then we can say about cheat funds. Local cheat funds. Local cheat funds. So the local cheat funds who are normally dealing with the local people, they are being regularly transacting their financial activities with local people. That will be also coming under the unorganized sector. So unorganized sector include 3 things. One will be your money lenders, second point will be indigenous bank, and third point will be your cheat funders. I hope now you are being clear about the components of money market. We are classifying components, we are classifying our discussion of components of money market under 2 heads. One will be your financial institutions and one will be your financial instruments. Financial institutions we have classified under 2 heads. One will be your organized, one will be your unorganized. Under organized, we have discussed about RBI, commercial bank, cooperative bank. Under unorganized sector, we have discussed about money lenders, indigenous bank, cheat fund. The main point of distinction between organized and unorganized is that organized sector is that sector whose activities are under the control of RBI, and unorganized sector is that whose activities are not under the control of RBI. So, we have discussed the first part of our discussion, that is about your financial institutions. Let us move to a discussion about the financial instruments. So, we have discussed, we have told about the organizations who are providing the various financial services. So, let us now know the financial instrument they are being provided by RBI, commercial banks and cooperative banks. So, now we will shift our discussion to discuss about the financial instrument which is a main component of money market. Let us discuss about the financial instruments. So we are continuing our discussion about the components of money market. We have discussed about the first part, that is your financial institutions. Now we will move to discuss about the second part, that is your financial instruments. So remember one thing, we will discussing about the financial instruments. So the second part of components of money market will be your financial instrument. It is your number 2. Financial instruments of money market. We can say also it is an organization of money market. We can say organization. These are the instruments through which the money market takes place. These are the instruments through which money market regularly takes place. So if we talk about the financial instruments, we can classify the financial instruments under mainly 5 heads. We can classify the financial instruments of money market under 5 heads. Number 1 will be your call money market. Second point will be your bankers acceptance market. Point number 3, collateral money market. Point number 4 will be your treasury bill market. Treasury bill market, and last point will be your commercial bill market. You understood? So there will be a short question for you also. So this is our second part of discussion. Let me tell you that we are discussing the second part of the components of money market, and the second part of components money market can be analyzed through the heading of your financial instruments or the organization of money market. So when you talk about the financial instrument, the first instrument that is coming here, call money market. Call money market. Call money market, the name itself indicates the money that is being carried out, the financial activities, the loan that is being carried out in such type of market is very short duration. The loans that is being carried out in the call money market is of purely short duration. It starts from day 1. It starts from first day. And very short duration actually. Call money markets are being made. Call money market, in such type of market, loans are being carried out for interbank financial requirement. Let me repeat the point. In call money market, banks are playing an important role, and they are there to satisfy the call money market. In those markets, banks are doing regular transactions, and banks are in the need of a call money market, where it is otherwise known as your interbank money market. Call money market is otherwise known as your interbank money market. Take for example, you know that actually when commercial banks function their day-to-day operations, they need sometimes they need money in urgency, sometimes they need money in emergency, and during such situation they borrow from other banks, and that is belong to the category of call money market. That is repaid within 1 day. Call money market is a market where the loans are being taken and they can be repaid after 1 day. That is why call money markets are the market where loans are being carried out for a very short period. Actually, we can say it's very short period, starting from day 1. We can say. So we can say call money market is purely meant for interbank financial transaction. They are not meant for any persons or any individuals. First point will be your call money market. Second point will be your bankers acceptance market. They are usually deal with the bankers actually. So banks have a main role to play in such type of market. Banks have to play a main role in such type of market, and it usually involved with the domestic trade and foreign trade. Remember one thing, banker acceptance market, here banks are playing an important role for such type of transaction for financing the domestic trade and foreign trade. Remember one thing. So the financing domestic trade and foreign trade, the banks are playing an important role, and such type of market is called your bankers acceptance market. Point number 3, your financial instrument, it's come your collateral. What do you mean by collateral? Collateral means security. Collateral means your security. So the money market where loans are being provided against securities. Money market where loans are being provided against proper securities, that is called your collateral money market. In collateral money market, collaterals are being playing an important role, securities are being playing an important role, and the securities may be in the form of mortgage, the security may be in the form of pledge security usually. You understood? So the name itself indicates the nature of money market that is being carried out. In collateral money market, loans are being carried out, loans are being made against collaterals, against securities. The security may be in the form of mortgage, the security may be in the form of pledge securities. So the number 3 market is your collateral money market. Number 4 market is your treasury money market. Very important point of view, you should understand that this is an important point of money market that is now being playing an important role. Treasury bill market is purely related to government bills. Remember one thing. Treasury bill market related to purely government bills, and the government bills are of 91 days. Treasury bills are of 91 days. They are sold by the government on behalf of the RBI. So you have to remember one important point is that in treasury bill market, who are the participants? RBI will sell the government bills of 91 duration on behalf of central government, and who are the receivers of such type of bills? Commercial banks. Commercial banks are there, LIC is there, GIC is there, UTI is there, different financial institutions, they will actually purchase the bills of government bills of 91 duration. You understood? Treasury bill market are of, it consists of government bills of 91 days duration. Treasury bill market consists of the government bills of 91 days duration. They are being sold in the market on behalf of RBI, and who will purchase it usually? It is the commercial bank, it is the GIC, it is the LIC, it is the UTI. They will take part in such type of market, and that is called your treasury bill market of 91 days duration. Then last but not least, that is your commercial bill market. Commercial bill market is a commercial bills, commercial bank bill market. In commercial bank bill market, the main instrument is your commercial bills. In commercial bill market, the main instrument is a commercial bill. It is an agreement between two parties. Commercial bill is an agreement between the two parties. Commercial bill is an agreement between two parties for exchange of goods and services. Remember one thing. Every market has a specification. Every market has a specific identification. In commercial bill market, bills are being carried out, bills are being exchanged, bills are being done for exchange of goods and services. Commercial bills are usually of 90 days. Remember one thing. Commercial bills are usually of 90 days. There will be two parties, and there will be the farm who will accept who will take the orders, who will issue the orders to the second party, and the second party will countersign the order. The second party will countersign the order with a promise. Commercial banks, we can say that commercial banks are the short-term promissory notes. Note it down. Commercial banks are the short-term promissory notes made by different firms to exchange goods and services. So, under commercial bill market, the farm will issue a bill against a purchaser actually. So, what will do? Now, on the other hand, the second party will fill up that form, and he will ready to pay the bill within 90 days. This is a promissory note. This is a promise made by the second party to pay the bill on a specified date for exchange of goods and services. Remember, commercial bill market, in commercial bill market, financial transactions are being carried out against goods and services for the payment of goods and services. So, every market, we have discussed about the entire financial instruments, entire money market system. Every market system has its own identification. Every market has its own identification. Take for example, in call money market, who are participating? Only banks are participating. Call money market is not meant for others. Call money market is not meant for individuals. Call money market is not meant for government. In call money market, purely commercial banks are only participating in call money market. Take for example, Indian Bank is demanding, Indian Bank is in the need of 1 crore, 2 crores rupees for certain day. Then it can approach to State Bank of India. So the amount taken by Indian Bank can be repaid by on the next day. So we should expect that in call money market, generally the loans are given for a specified short period. It is not meant for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months like that. So the participants are the interbank financial transactions. No persons, no individuals, no organizations is being allowed over here. So this is specifically meant for the banks. And banker acceptance market. When you talk about banker acceptance market, here the banks are playing an important role to finance foreign trade or domestic trade. This is the finance system. This is a financial system that is meant for financing domestic and international trade. In collateral money market, loans are being granted for short-term duration against collaterals, against securities like your mortgage and pledge. And the treasury bill market, government bills are being sold in the open market. Government bills of 91 days. Government bills of 91 days are being sold in the open market on behalf of the RBI. And who are the participants to purchase that? It is the commercial bank, it is the LIC, it is the GIC, it is the UTI. They are the stakeholders who will purchase the government bills on behalf of the RBI. Last but not least is your commercial bill market. When you talk about the commercial bill market, I told you commercial bill market is a market where the commercial bank is the promissory notes. Commercial bills are the promissory notes issued by the first party to the second party for payment of for exchange of goods and services. This is a market where loans are being carried out for payment of goods and services actually. Understood? The first party will issue a order for the second party, and the second party have to countersign the order with a promise to repay the loan on a specified date. That is your commercial bill market. Commercial bill markets are of 90 days duration. So each market has a specific identification, you should understand. That is why we have now clearly classified the instruments of money market under the following 5 words. So just let me revise the topics once again. We can classify the components of financial system under 3 years. I told you, one is your financial market, financial instrument, and financial intermediaries. So we are discussing about the financial market. Financial market is divided into 2 parts. One is your money market, one is your capital market. Money market is a market where short-term transactions are being carried out. Capital market is a market where long-term transactions are being carried out. So when you focus to discussion about the money market, then money market, components of money market can be studied under 2 years. One will be your financial institutions and one will be your financial instrument. Financial instruments, we can study under 3 years. One will be your RBI, next one will be your commercial banks, and next one will be your cooperative banks. The 3 will come under the organized sector, and indigenous banks, money lenders, seed fund, they will come under unorganized sector. So organized sector and unorganized sector, they will constitute the financial institutions of the money market. Under second heading, under the financial instrument, now we have discussed about different types of instruments that we are doing in the money market. That is your call money market, then your bankers acceptance market, then will be your collateral money market, then will be your treasury bill market, then your commercial bill market. So I hope you understand the entire system, entire functioning, entire operations of components of money market actually. I hope you understand the points very clear. Now in the second part of discussion actually, we will study about the capital market. Capital market, how it functions, what are the components of capital market, how it runs day by day, that we will discuss. As I told you, just I brief now, the capital market is a market where we will study the functioning of the financial system made for long-term financial requirement. Capital market is a market where the long-term financial requirements are being met out. So in the next part of our discussion actually, we will study the capital market, its components, where the loans are being provided for long-term purposes. Thank you to all of you.